Okay. All right. So I'm getting ready to bring us on, Michelle. Okay. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the Keith Harris Show Global Network today. Once again, I hope everybody's having a wonderful, beautiful day. Hope your week is getting started off the way you want it to, full of blessings. We're winding down, getting closer to Christmas and getting closer to the New Year. So I hope everybody is excited and ready for that. Now, without further ado, we have been waiting for this wonderful, multi-talented, very classy, very attractive businesswoman as well. Today with us on the line, we have actor, producer, and director Michelle Tomlinson. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm fantastic, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, as a matter of fact. It's kind of morning, but I'm doing good.
All right. We're still topside, so we're winning, you know?
Exactly. So, all right. You know, first of all, what's the weather? Are you on the West Coast right now, Michelle?
I am, yes. I live in Los Angeles.
Okay. Weather's good out there today?
Of course. It's sunny and kind of chilly. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, so you know it's really cold.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? If you're just wearing a sweatshirt. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like a winter.
I don't even know where I have a coat.
I was going to say, that's like a winter day out there when you got to wear a sweatshirt. So.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right. So to get, to jump right into things with you, Michelle, how did you start out? Like, were you, because I know you're a talk show host too. You have your own talk show. Now, did that come first, or did you begin in the film industry first, in acting?
The answer is yes. I kind of began. I did a lot of theater when I was a little kid, and I don't know that I would really count that so much as another fun little kid who did a bit of theater. Right. And then in high school, I actually worked a lot in video productions, and I had this amazing teacher, Leslie Duran, who guided, I don't even know how many of us, to understand the technical world of what it means to write, produce, shoot, and direct news segments. Mm-hmm. And so my next thing after doing plays when I was a little kid was doing these news segments for my school and for a program that CBS in Albuquerque held called News 101. And so my real gusto, juicy, chomping on energy came from doing all of that. My friend, who was my first business partner ever, my friend Kelly Floyd, and I actually won a writing award from News 101 for one of our clips. So it all began really with that.
Okay.
Then I went to college and started a mass communication degree in the world of journalism, thinking, okay, it's this, so this. And then the program where I was in school, I was a little not inspired by it. And I took an acting class as as an elective.
Right.
And then I just went, oh, this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. So my show, my talk show, integrates all of it. So it's kind of funny. It all came together many moons later.
Yeah, you know what? And that's good. As a matter of fact, one thing that I noticed, even myself, when you start out being behind the scenes like that and just learning the fundamentals to, as you say, writing and producing and things like that, you tend to be able to put all of these things together and do them all at once, opposed to had you just started out as being an actor and only being within that field.
It would have been a much different journey.
Right.
A much different. People do that, and I'm really glad that I put the technical and learned that before acting. Mm-hmm. And even after I started acting and moved to LA, I'm the type of person that I'm always wanting to know more.
Right.
And so I got a ton of this, that, and the other jobs in the industry so that I could learn more about this, that, and the other.
Right.
About the industry that we're in,
Now, and I have to ask this question because sometimes people just, have it within them, like you said you did. How difficult was it when you started taking, video production? Was it a lot harder than the acting classes?
I don't know if anything is really, truly difficult if you're completely in love with it and having fun.
Great.
there's a ton to learn, and it's not like I just walked in the door and I was amazing at it. That's definitely not what I mean, but it was just so exciting to be able to shoot things and string them together in an editing bay. And I actually mean an editing bay where there were videotapes. I'm 900 years old. So, I mean, we got to experience like half-inch, half-inch, three-quarter to three-quarter, three-quarter, half-inch type of editing.
Right.
And it was just so exciting. I mean, it just wasn't hard in the sense of frustrating. How the hell do I do this? It was challenging. Going, I don't know how to make this work better, but it was just fun. Same thing with acting. It's just fun. There's so many challenging things about it, but it's just so much fun.
And being able to use that creativeness as well, like you say, when you get stuck into a position where when you're asking yourself, how am I going to make this work? And then you know that you're going to figure out a way to make it work.
You have to.
Right. It's just about finding that edge towards it all. Now you're originally from northern New Mexico.
I am. Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about your first. Let's because there's both. We're going two ways with this. I'm gonna jump back and forth a bit about the talk show and a little bit about the acting. What was your first audition?
Oh.
What was your first audition like, Michelle? Were you nervous?
Oh my God, my first when I was a little kid, I just went and had fun and didn't think much of it. I think my first role was like a dancing tree or something.
Okay.
And yeah, so I didn't really get that nervous as a kid doing it because I was just like, let's have a great time. My first audition, I would say my first real audition was for Romeo and Juliet in college. And I had never really had to audition before where I had to memorize a monologue or read sides or any of that stuff. And so I just barely knew what I was doing, and I think I might give myself too much credit even there. Like, I really didn't know what the hell was going on. And I was definitely nervous, and I had no idea when they were having different people paired up doing different things. I had no idea I was about to have my very first ever stage kiss. Just a little peck, nothing hubba.
Right.
But it was a kiss nonetheless, and I was like, oh, I did not know that was going to happen. Added on to it, it was absolutely nuts. It was wonderful and terrifying and nuts, and what a way to dip into auditioning. First of all, it's Shakespeare. Second of all, somebody kisses you when you're in front of a bazillion people auditioning. It was something.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, yeah, because that first kiss on the, when you're in theater or acting, that normally breaks the ice for you right there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Everybody gets to that road that, okay, I've got a kissing scene, and then it's like once you do that one, you're pretty much official after that. You're on your way, right?
Exactly. Like, oh, I can act. Yeah, I kissed somebody.
Now, with the talk show, okay, how long have you been doing your talk show, as a matter of fact?
Exactly a year.
Oh.
My show was born a year ago.
Okay.
And we have 14 episodes up, and we're going to be shooting the next 7. I've been doing them in 7-episode increments to make sure that I give myself time to do everything I need to do.
Right.
And get the show executed in a way that I need to be executed so that I can be proud of it. So I do 7-episode increments, and we're going to start shooting the next 7 in January. Right.
Now let me ask you this, because as a talk show person myself, when you are about, as you get ready to interview the people that you talk to, okay, do you feel like being in the industry or being an actress yourself kind of helps you just know what questions to ask and what to talk about with your guests?
I think it helps with presentation.
Okay.
Being aware of the technical aspects of there's a camera, and so you don't want to turn your back to the camera or anything. So it does help with the presentation of the job of being a host.
Right.
And my questions more come from me as just a human.
Right.
But the presentation hosting part, definitely thank God for the acting background in doing that, because that would have been like, okay, so what do I do? How do I sit? Where do I stand? What's happening? I think I would have been doing a lot of those type of nervous questions.
Yeah.
And so I get all that. I understand how to do all that. So I just relax into it and ask the questions. Usually with my guests, I've already had a conversation with them to get to know who they are a little bit if I don't already, in fact, know them.
Right.
And we talk about things like, if there is something that you don't want to discuss, tell me. And if I accidentally come across something that you don't want to discuss, or that maybe, my gosh, legally you cannot discuss, then we're going to stop the recording and say, okay, we need to edit that part out, and then keep going. Because it gets pretty intense for people with what's in the show, the subject matters that we can come across.
Right.
And so really, it's so very important for people to feel comfortable and safe and okay with anything they're going to answer or be asked.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and you do wonderful at it. When I watch your episodes of your show, you're comfortable with your guests, and like you say, you have the knack already, from being in acting to kind of know how to face the camera. I know myself, I could be doing like a regular little commercial recording of myself, and I still have to say my lines over like 10 times, and there's nobody watching me, right? And I'm looking at myself. Yeah, and I'm looking at myself like, okay, I got to make sure I present this right. But it becomes something natural once you do it over and over again. Would you?
It does, and if you have passion for what you're saying, doing, or asking, or like your show, Keith, you have a passion for it, and so it just becomes more of a beautiful conversation versus any type of performance.
Right. Exactly. Because you know. Two human
beings talking.
Exactly, Mondo. You're right. Now let's talk about. Let's see. I'll call you Sarah. When I go into these, the questions that I ask about the films, I'll kind of say your role name. But Divine Order. Okay. If you can talk about that. Mm-hmm. What was the plot behind that and your role as Sarah?
Divine Order is a cult film.
Okay.
So it's really psychological, thrillery cult film, and I was very fortunate to be accepted to be a day player in a production that was going from Maureen Wilson, and excuse me. Uh-huh. And my character was somebody who lures these two guys to a party later that night and tries to get them hoodwinked. It was a really fun, really, really sweet, really great experience with Andy Gates and with Mo and with Raina and the director Patrick. It was very lovely.
Right. Looking at some of the roles, and I'll tell you, okay, when I see your character, or when I see some of the stills of, even the movie covers, film covers, as a matter of fact, you're intense looking. A lot of times you look like you're either up to something or like you're frightened to death. Yeah, okay. Now, are these the roles that you're used to playing? Like for instance, dragging somebody into getting hoodwinked, or like what? Do you enjoy playing? I know you enjoy playing them, but have you formed a character that you can go into these roles more intense? Like, how do you do that? I've seen you crawling, trying to get away from stuff and everything else like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love all of it, and all of it is challenging, and all of it is fun. I have a strong personality as a human being, just being me, Michelle. So a lot of my characters do wind up having strong personalities, and I've had a really lucky time as far as doing things like really obnoxiously big comedy.
Yeah.
Where I've played a total vapid airhead. And it's pure comedy. There wasn't a lick of horror or really drama in the whole thing. It was a 100% comedy feature film. And I was more nervous about that than I was doing something like Cellar Door where I'm trapped in a box. I was more nervous to actually play comedy because I wasn't sure if I could pull it off.
And you know what? We're going to get into Cellar Door in just a minute because, number one, that was an intense film. But I'll ask you this question first. Could you ever see yourself playing a role as the sweet girl, or the sweet lady, or maybe the sweet wife, and everything's like really nice about you, and you're just home making. You think you could see yourself playing that at any time in the future, or?
I would be shocked if I booked a role like that. But if I booked a role like that, then my God, that means somebody can see me playing that, and I will do my darndest to do it. I've just never experienced even getting audition for somebody who's just a chick. Like, and that there's no ulterior, and she's not stupid, and she's not, cunning and smart and crazy. There's always some kind of edge to everybody I play as far as characteristics. So I don't know, man. I would do it. I would give it a whirl. I'd probably be more nervous for that at this point than anything else. I'm going, okay, there's nothing else going on. She's not going to stab anybody in their sleep. All right.
Yeah, like that's what you know what I'm saying. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
All right. Now, okay, going into cellar door. All right. For everybody out there listening, if you can, because I know, listen, and for all the listeners out there, if you have not seen Cellar Door 1, and there's part 2 coming as well, if you haven't seen that, make sure you go check it out. All right. So, Michelle, just kind of give everybody a little bit of a rundown without giving away what you cannot give away. Just kind of give people a rundown of what that film was about and what role you played.
My co-star James Dumont and I always laugh and say it's a family film, really, and then nobody laughs with us. But it's a really sweet little psychological thriller that also turns into a relationship piece.
Okay.
That would be kind of a weird one sentence to say it in. It's not really the log line, but that is kind of what happens, and it turns into very cat and mouse and outwitting each other, and what is somebody willing to do to get away, and what is somebody willing to do to make somebody stay. Oh
wow. Now did you have to hurt anyone in that particular film?
I got to, yes. I did. I didn't kill anybody. Yeah. My character did not kill anybody, but I definitely did get to have a good time with a mole trap. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, is Cellar Door 2 out already, or can we expect that in the future? Or?
Man, as soon as we get funding, the script is we have a table read actually for today, and the script is really in great shape. There might be a few little tweaks here and there left for it, but Chris, my husband, actually is who wrote the first one and the sequel, and it's in awesome shape. And it's a completely different film as far as Cellar Door was not yesterday. It was not 2 years ago. It was like 6.5, 7 years ago.
Right.
And what we're doing that I'm really happy about is honoring the passage of time. We're not trying to sell this as, it's this girl locked in a box, part 2, and by the way, that was just 2 years ago. It's going, no, it's been a while. Now, where are these people this many years later? What are they doing? How are they coping with the events that took place in the original Cellar Door? And what's going to happen next when we're using a little bit of the sprinkle of technology through the internet? Tons more characters, a lot more locations. It's a lot more open, and it's not just Cellar Door 2. Oh my gosh, she's in a box again. Look out.
Right. Well, and you talk, as you say, it's been some years ago, but honestly, I don't know if I'm not sure if you've noticed yourself being in the film, but a lot of people still remember that film, though. A lot of people.
Yeah. And there's still people today they're finding me on Facebook and Twitter going, oh my God, I just saw this film for the first time, and it's like, well, that is awesome, and it's apparently on, what is that called, Frightflix?
Okay.
I don't really know what Frightflix is, but it's on there.
Right.
And it's also being sold on DVDs. You know how you can buy 2 films or whatever, and they're in the same little package thing?
Yeah.
You can buy the Cellar Door, and I don't know what the other film it's with, but Best Buy and a couple other stores are still carrying the film in that format. So that was really exciting. And
they should be. And I really feel like I feel like if this is going to be a spin-off somewhat as to how you guys are coping with what happened before, and then and it's crazy because I can't even really, I know how it is, so I can't, ask you those questions about how to get into it.
Right.
But I definitely have a feeling we're going to be looking for the second one for part 2, because I have a feeling it's going to be as good, if not greater, than the first one.
I think it's even stronger than the original, truthfully.
Right.
It's a stronger film.
Now, okay, with the hubby writing the script to the film, were you able to kind of get that role that you wanted to, or did he challenge you any? Did he write you in there just where you wanted to be, or did he challenge your skills any on this one?
He challenges my skills all the time with acting stuff and scripts. With the original film, he wrote it with me in mind. To play that character and call it. And this is before we were even Cellar Door. We've only been married for 2 years. So, I mean, The first one was before we even got together.
Right.
And I do not, thank you for asking that. That's a really great question, because I wish more people asked questions like that. I never, ever try to steer his writing in any direction.
Okay.
At all. Because I'm producing the film.
Right.
And so what I did this time around is, like, I would say, well, hey, he would go, I'm kind of, like, thinking this or that, and he would kind of bounce stuff off me, and I would go, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? And I didn't care what suggestion he took of mine, because it was all just story-type suggestions I would throw out there. But what I did do that I will forever glad I did is this particular script, I was like, I have notes, and I think that it would be best if I didn't give them to you, and I'm just my friend is a script doctor. She's amazing. It's what she does. She gets the script and gives a bunch of notes. She didn't do a rewrite, but she got the script, and she gave Chris a lot of notes, because I said, you're going to hear this from the girl you live with. I'm your wife. I'm one of the lead actors, and I am the producer. I'm one of the producers on that.
Right.
So me giving my husband notes could really cause some conflict, because both of our egos would have an opportunity to come out and get really crazy if they wanted to.
Right.
And I didn't want to go down that road, because I value my relationship. I value my marriage a lot.
Right.
So I took it to my script doctor and paid her fee, and she came back with notes and suggestions. We had a meeting with her, and then he went and finished doing some rewrite stuff, and I stayed out of that process.
Yeah. And what?
Thank you so much for asking that.
Well, you know what, and it's good that you put it that way too. And for people who watch the film, too, when they watch you in these films acting, they can really tell that he cuts you no slack, because
he cuts me no slack, zero.
Right. Because these are roles that no matter who would have wrote them, they are roles that are challenging to play. So right. So whether you had done it or somebody else had done it, they would have had to put their best to it. So they weren't biased in any sort of way. So so compliments go out to him for that as well. Now, okay, what if you could switch a role? If you could, if you could switch and play someone else, or have your dream role, I call it your dream role. If you could play someone you wanted to play in a film, what kind of person would it be? Would it be cunning, slick, smooth? Would it be a gangster female? What would it be?
I never thought about that. That would be fun. I am a big fan of the TV show Supernatural.
Okay.
And it would be so much fun to either play, and I don't know, do you watch that show? Do you have any reference to what I'm talking about?
I love that show.
Oh my God, do you really?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. Then you're totally going to get what I'm about to say, otherwise it would sound bizarre.
Right.
I would love to play either an angel that is working with Castiel to kick some ass with some of the other angels to get them back up to heaven doing what they're supposed to be doing. Right. Or playing one of the, like a hunter for just a couple episodes. I'm not talking a big, pie in the sky dream of series regular, but literally just like a 2 or 3 episode arc, or playing a hunter who kind of swoops into whatever hoo-la-la town the Winchester brothers are in, and helping them on some weird case, and maybe it was a long time ago friend of Bobby's or whatever, that type of thing. Yeah. That is like, gives me goosebumps to even think about. If I ever got to do that, I would probably fall over.
I could see you playing the angel kicking the butt sometimes, because you're ready for action.
Right?
Yep. You're always ready for action, so I could.
Right.
I could totally.
That's what I want to play. It's one of those.
Now, okay. Now you're also coaching. You're coaching acting classes as well. How long have you been doing that?
8 years.
Oh, okay. So there's
I
some
totally up to doing it.
So there's some skillful people out there then coming out under the wing.
A lot of times they're skillful before they walk in the door. They just may not realize it fully yet, you know?
Right. In that field, in doing that, the people that you work with, or the students that you work with, I'll say, how far is the range? I mean, you have people who come in and they know what they're doing, or they might have the knack for it. And then you have some people who might come in and it's a dream that they're pursuing. So they're pretty much starting from scratch. They're starting from zero.
Yep.
Do you have a way that you still fit them into the same category, or do you have to kind of separate them to go through different lessons or different teachings, or do you take some extra time with some than others, or?
I approach each person, regardless of where they are on their journey of the world of acting, as a separate entity. Every single person is just separate, because every single person has their thing that they're going to be contributing to the world of acting, whether it be film, television, or theater, and everybody has their own thing that they have to work on.
Right.
So whether they're beginning or seasoned, or somebody that's just popped in for like a quick little run through before they go to their actual audition, everybody gets treated the exact same way. Right.
Now,
same way.
And I'll also ask you in a second too, to let everyone also know how they can get in touch with you to be involved with your coaching classes as well, to make that plug. Now, in that line of work, and again, don't, whatever, if it's any questions you can't answer, don't answer. But
okay, fair enough.
This is a profession that involves dreams, and a lot of times it involves ego. It also involves pain and hurt, as we all know, because right. In a position as an acting coach, you give everyone confidence and you stand behind everyone. Obviously, I know you do. Are there some people out there who just have it and some who don't?
I think that there are some people out there who might have a slightly easier journey than other people, but there's definitely not the those that can and the those that can't. If I would have listened to somebody a long time ago about things that they said to me to my face about my ability and whether or not I belonged in this industry, I would have never been in the cellar door, or Brain Dead, or George's Intervention, or any of it. I would have taken my knapsack and gone home 7 or 8 years ago, if that was the case. Yeah. So some of us just have a different energy and a different way of doing it.
And
there's people who struggle trying to get. I had a client who she first came to me, and it's something she always wanted to do. She had taken classes a few years before, but she hadn't taken any in a long time. She got stuck in a day job that sucked and had a really hard time hopping back into the world of acting. Because I had a willing participant, not because of anything I said or did, she was ready to fight the fight and get through all of it. But I watched this girl unfold directly in front of my eyes, with confidence, with grace, with ability, with skill, and went out, and the very first audition she went on, she booked it.
There you go.
It was the most amazing thing to see. And, that's somebody that would have said, I'm not supposed to do this, I don't know, because somebody else got in her head. Right.
And, that question for everybody out there listening now, I usually would project sort of that type of a question in the normal way of what advice would somebody give for aspiring people who want to be in the industry. And I switched it up a little, and I want everybody out there to understand how genuine Michelle was with that answer and giving advice, even though the question was formed in a different way. It's important as to what she just said, which is, the advice. Don't listen to people who tell you that you cannot do something. Okay.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have the confidence, or you don't feel like you have the confidence, pick your feet up, go out with it anyway, give it a shot. You'll get used to it, and you never know what happens. So don't let, just don't let anything stop you. Like, don't be afraid to go for it. And so that was a wonderful answer, and a great story, as a matter of fact. I like how that led into the story with that great advice. So,
thank you. Yeah, she's a very inspiring person, this girl, and it is really important to. Other people are not us. They cannot dictate our lives unless we're under 18 and we live with our parents. You know what I mean? And that's a different thing. But when you're trying to let this creative beast within you out to have fun, to work, to play, and to figure all of this out, it's hard enough to sometimes have that confidence and the permission to yourself to do it, let alone somebody coming around on your path going, you kind of suck and you should just pack it up.
Right.
You know, and it's what do you do when that happens? You either keep going or you don't.
Absolutely.
We have a choice.
Now, with everybody hearing that, it just another reason why, if you're on the West Coast, or you're going to be heading to the West Coast, and you're thinking about getting involved in acting or the field, you should definitely contact Michelle Tomlinson for some coaching. Michelle, is there a way that everybody can get in touch with you, or a website or anything? Or
oh yeah, my website for coaching is mtomlinsoncoaching.com. It's all one word. M is in Michelle. Tomlinson is my last name. Coaching, like coaching for actors.com.
Okay. Now let me ask. I want to ask this question. If you were not in the field that you are today, and I understand why you are. It seems like it's your calling. You do it wonderfully. If you had not started the talk show, you weren't into acting, what do you think you might be doing today? That's a hard one, right?
It'd be one of two things, which is they're kind of vastly different from each other. I'd either be some sort of journalism or be a psychologist.
Okay. Understanding the mind and how people and how things work.
Yeah, because you do have to understand when people come in the door, you really have to get to it quick of how to speak with them when they're brand new to you. You really have to get who they are within 5 minutes so that you understand how to speak with them. So being a psychologist would be just somebody a little more deeply entrenched in how to help other people.
Right. Going back into the film side, Officer Jackie Thomas. Okay, I'll call you. And Officer Down. What was that film about? I'm just kind of going off different titles because you've been in so many different projects, and so I'm just kind of picking and choosing. A lot of great titles. What was Officer Down about?
It's a cop film, and it's an action drama film, and it's awesome. Rick is a tremendous director, Richard Bakewell, and I gotta say, kudos to him for how he deals with actors. He doesn't say action. I just love the way this man works. He will say, okay, when you're ready. Like, everything's rolling, the camera's rolling, sound's rolling, everybody's ready to go, and you're totally in the moment to do it. And he is just this lovely human who just says, okay, whenever you're ready.
Wow.
You start the scene whenever you start the scene. And so it is the safest environment. And thank God, because my character is my allergies have been crazy today, so I apologize, I keep coughing.
You're all right.
My character was a very downtrodden, manipulative human being who was in an abusive relationship. And she had a habit of calling the cops, this one in particular, who would show up and, save the day and everything.
Right.
And it was a really, really, really challenging character to play because there are sometimes things that are a little close to home. And you go, oh, I don't know how much I want to show or how much do I show. And working with Richard was just amazing.
Wow.
It was just amazing. I felt very safe to be that raw and real vulnerable.
Okay.
And that was a really interesting experience. The audition was 5 pages. I'm just in one scene, which is fine. It was an amazing scene. the audition material in the 5 pages, I spent over 15 hours
Whoa.
on 5 little pages
What?
of a film. Yeah, I did. I spent over 15 hours poring over every single word, poring over every single angle of who she was, and thank God I booked it, because, I mean, it was like I spent that much time in preparation. I've never spent 15 hours on 5 pages for anything in my life.
Right.
And it was cool.
Have you ever been called out on an audition or chosen for a role that you just said, hey, this is not for me?
Yeah, I did.
It happened.
We don't recognize, we don't recognize sometimes where the line in the sand is for ourselves until all of a sudden you see the line in the sand that miraculously shows up, and you're like, oh my God, I cannot cross that line. And there was this character for the film I was offered 2 or 3 years ago now. I don't know, 2.5 years. And it was a really fun script. It was a really sassy, cool character. The way she ends up getting killed, I just could not wrap my head around it, because it was so sexually graphic how she died.
Yeah.
That I was like, everything else I get. It doesn't matter that I'm in a short bathrobe the whole time. That I could care less about. But graphic violence sexually was suddenly that's the line in the sand that I found.
Yeah, because
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, because sometimes even those scenes are just even hard to watch to the average human being. You know?
Yeah, and of course nothing would be real. I mean, naturally nothing would be real. It's a movie. But it was, I couldn't choke it down.
Yeah, I understand. Now, Cheryl, I'll call you Cheryl now, from Axe to Grind. Okay. So a little bit about that. A little bit about your role in Axe to Grind.
She was a lot of fun. She was a persnickety girl who loved her red lipstick. Very, very strong as far as sassitude, and she was a dominatrix, so she just kind of wrote her own rules and didn't really care what anybody else said or did. She just kind of walked her own path, and it was a lot of fun. It was challenging because we shot it in a very short amount of time. It was challenging also because I was really sick. It was the height of, I got really sick last year, and it was the height of it, and I had already signed on to do that film when I found out that I had papillary thyroid cancer, and so I opted to wait for my surgery and everything until I was done shooting that Divine Order and done doing a play. And so it was really challenging. During the breaks, I literally went into the sanctuary. There's a sanctuary at the Linda Vista Hospital that a lot of our stuff was based in, as far as the base camp for the shoot itself. And so I would just go in there and just sleep in between takes and stuff so that I could have the energy to make it through the whole day.
Right.
But it was an amazing film. I was reunited with the director from The Cellar Door, Matt Patel. His wife, Sky Borgman, who is the cinematographer for The Cellar Door, also shot this film. Adrian Keeley, who was with me in a comedy feature film as an actor, I was getting reunited with him. One of my clients was actually in the film as well, so it was really cool. And Debbie Rochon was a blast to work with.
Right. Okay. And to cut in for a minute, also we want to send you our blessings as well on your situation that you made it through as well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
All things considered, it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Right.
So I'm grateful it only was what it was, and that it was last year, not this year.
Right. And your strong personality as well. I'm sure that kept you going a whole lot. So.
Yeah, and I had a lot of support around me. I definitely had a lot of support around me as well. That helped tremendously. It was a very challenging moment. Right.
Now, okay, so what can we the nearest project that we can expect to hear from you or see you in the near future? What's coming up for us next, in other words?
Producing The Cellar Door and my show. There's going to be more episodes of my shows coming up soon, and then just cross your fingers or something that I audition for Supernatural.
All right, I'm looking for you.
That's what I was like. Let's just say that's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't want it to be like false advertising.
I know, right?
Let's just say that's what's going to happen.
Right. So we'll all keep our fingers crossed for that, because that'd be exciting. I can be watching it like, oh, there's Michelle. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah, she did.
That'd be groovy.
And an episode directed by Guy Norman B. Let's be really specific.
Okay. As for intimate moments with Michelle Tomlinson, let everybody know when they can check your show out too, and where to go find it.
That's at michelletomlinson.tv.
Okay.
Which is my first name, last name, .tv.
And they can go on at any point in time and just go to the site and then check all the different episodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can also find it on iTunes if you're a podcast person. An Intimate Look with Michelle Tomlinson is also available through iTunes. So you have options. You can watch the video through the TV site, or you can download and listen to the podcast through iTunes. Okay,
sounds great. And one day in the future, Michelle, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed from this one too. I hope that I'll get accepted to be able to sit on that couch across from you, and get maybe you can interview me one day.
Knock us out west, buddy, and call it done.
All right, that sounds like a plan. I'm gonna try to get to that level so I can make it to that couch. So that works out.
You're welcome anytime. You are welcome anytime.
Thank you so much. And of course, you're welcome back here at any time. Right after you're done, I know you're busy doing so many things, but the first chance you get, I'd love for you to come back and let us know what's going on with you in the present and how things are happening for you. And it's been wonderful talking to you today, Michelle.
Thank you so much. And a huge thank you to the amazing Joe Williamson, truly.
Absolutely, yes.
He's one of the most epic human beings I've ever met. So big kudos to Joe.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Joe. Joe has been a wonderful blessing. He's done so much for me, as a matter of fact. So thank you, Joe Williamson.
Big time.
Absolutely. All right. Listen, Michelle, we know you got to get out of here. It's been wonderful talking to you, everybody. This is the wonderful actor, producer, and director, and talk show host. She just does it all, Michelle Tomlinson. Michelle, it's been beautiful talking to you, and we'll hear from you soon.
It was an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Michelle Tomlinson, everybody. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And she's doing a lot. She's coaching others who are trying to get into the field as well. Wonderful person, down to earth. No big head, no superhuman ego involved, except pure positivity. So we thank her for coming through. Be sure to check out her talk show as well. All right, Intimate Moments with Michelle Tomlinson. She has some wonderful guests on there, some things you don't want to miss. Be sure to go check out Cellar Door 1 and Cellar Door 2 when it comes out. So many different projects she has been in. You can go to IMDb as well. Type in Michelle Tomlinson. That's Michelle, last name Tomlinson, Tomlinson, and check out one of the wonderful projects that she is involved with. All right, you don't want to miss it. All right, you're listening to the Keith Harris Show Global Network. I'm your host, Keith Harris, and we thank you so much for tuning in. Big shouts out to Michelle Tomlinson. Big shouts out to Joe Williamson. We'll be talking to you soon.